Righto, ladies and gentlemen, the Giant Appetite. You are welcome to the first of what we hope is a multitude of standalone, special, guest-orientated Squinters episodes. We're going to call them the Squinters Chat Up, and I'm going to go straight to the people of the moment. The Squinters today are chatting up Katie and Murray. For some of our listeners who don't have much context, what happened was Murray put up a photo on the Giants Facebook page, chat page, saying, "Hey everyone, isn't it wonderful? We got married. Here's a photo of us by Dove Lake getting married." Well, not getting married, sorry, getting engaged. And we were both wearing Giants fleeces, and that's just perfect. I imagine that there's slightly more to discuss, and to discuss it, we've got Muzz and Katie themselves to take us through a blow-by-blow description of how that happens. Also joining us for the very first time is Growler. He's tuning in, and Bartman is calling in from Marseille, just near the French Riviera. So we're going to compare the Tasmanian Riviera and the French Riviera, just to sort of get a little bit of balance to this very inaugural Squinters Chat Up episode. But Katie and Murray, congratulations.
Yay!
Marriage is fine. You'll love it. Thanks very much for joining us.
You're welcome, guys. Thanks for having us.
We're just going to go straight to the heart of the matter. We understand you were on a road trip from the great Giants victory in Hobart. You drove all the way to the not as good Giants loss in Adelaide, and on the way, someone decided that a question needed to be asked and answered, and it was cold?
Yeah, so we definitely, we decided for a long weekend with 4 days off that we'd go down to Adelaide and spend some time down there after the game and have a bit of wine time, and thought, well, the good opportunity is to go down to Tassie and do the same and finish in Hobart, hoping for 2 wins, but yeah.
Cold climate wines in Tassie as well, so, you know.
Exactly. So, yeah, we ended up coming back with too many bottles of wine, but that was not the reason for the trip by any means.
But it was definitely a trip that was driven by the Giants, and the whole idea for the trip is, let's do some away games every year. Hey, we can do Adelaide over the long weekend. Oh, hang on a minute, we can do Hobart the following week. Why not do both?
Yeah.
And
you drove?
We flew over to Adelaide, did the game there, did some touring around there, then flew to Launceston and drove around Tasmania, and then finished in Hobart before we flew back to Sydney. And the team were on the flight on the way home from Hobart to Sydney. So it was an awesome way to finish the trip that was driven by football to come home with football. It was awesome.
Who did you sit next to?
I think we was next to the... next to a photographer?
We were sitting next to a photographer, but
Mummy was in front of Muzz, and
wouldn't have been able to see much of the safety demonstration with Mummy in front of you, Muzz.
No.
Mate, I hope you saw where the nearest exit was.
Yeah,
he's going to block it anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but we definitely know he has a taste for dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate Kit Kat is
interesting.
What
That's got that.
That is a Squinters Scoop right there.
That is exactly the sort of stuff we need.
That's exactly the sort of stuff I think Mumford would be into as well. Something a bit obscure.
I had him picked as a dark chocolate man. I don't know why, but thank you for confirming.
Absolutely. I mean, you will never hear it anywhere else, but you certainly heard it here first. That was an excellent little pressy, but you did sort of avoid the reason for the pod.
Well, yes, we did. So,
blow by blow. We've got at least half an hour. If you want to take 28 minutes, the knees, the nerves, the pause between the will you and the go on then. Dove Lake, beautiful spot.
It is. So I say...
Did you just roll out of bed thinking, God, I'm cold, I better wear my Giants fleece? And Katie thought, actually, do you know what I'm wearing today? And then suddenly, eyes met across the room.
I wouldn't say it's a uniform for us, but it is the token go-to outerwear when it's cold outside.
As it should be.
We've got the good footy gear to get us through footy winter. Why not use it at other times? So we are quite proud to wear it out and about. And,
orange goes with anything.
And especially when you're in a national park that size, you don't want to get lost and you definitely get seen.
Very, very sensible. Yeah, you left your E-perm.
Exactly. So, yeah, it was I suppose, that day especially, I mean, that was between the two games. It was on the Friday, actually. We were up there.
Yep, Friday the 14th.
On the 14th.
I was going to say, do we remember the
Yeah,
date?
absolutely. We've got a lifetime to remember this date.
Yeah, well, I can't remember mine.
Ouch.
Neither.
There's probably
thanks.
a more important date that you do remember where the
Yeah.
Yeah,
That one in October sometime. My birthday.
Respect.
Definitely, you've got to remember that one. But yeah, no, it was definitely an interesting time though.
For sure, and we parked the car, and had you done most of the walk, so you were hot and bothered, or you had just started?
We started out. It was a rainy day, and we mean rain, absolutely pelting down. So we parked the car. You end up getting a little bus, shuttle bus that goes out to Dove Lake, which is about a 20-minute drive from the visitors centre. So it's not easy just to drive into the national park. So we've taken this nice little bus in torrential rain out to the middle of nowhere, but as we've gotten out there, the rain had actually stopped, which was absolutely perfect. There was
can't fight fate.
Exactly. There was no wind. It was still on the water, and I don't know if any of you guys have been up there, but it's basically it's about a 15-minute walk around to where the actual boat shed is, and it's nice little stroll, little bit of hill, nothing too major. But you get down there, and strangely enough, there was no one there. There was lots of people back at the car park, but no one there.
Who took the photo?
So that was after the event. So
let's get to the event first. Sorry, right. Jumping the shark.
Wow. So yeah, when the event actually happened, it was like, we're looking around
the event. We'll just don't say what it was.
The question. We got there, and yeah, very, very quiet, very still. I managed to go around the other side of the boat shed, not to be seen, and then called Katie around. She was getting some better photos of the surrounds on the SLR, but then...
Few selfies, Katie?
Few selfies, but,
perfect.
when you're in like 0 or 2 degrees outside or whatever it was freezing, have to take my gloves off to get, touch the phone, to get the panorama shot. So I'm standing at the end of the boardwalk doing this panorama. And
one glove on, one glove off. You've nailed this, Murray.
Picked it well.
I did well, yes. I noticed all these little signs like, this is the right moment. So, got down on the one knee.
And at this point, I'm still facing away from him. And so...
Oh, is that right? Okay.
He's gotten down on one knee behind me, and he's called Katie.
There was a long, awkward pause.
And I've turned around, and I've seen in my peripheral that he's down on one knee, and I'm like, okay, drop the phone, drop the camera, drop it, but put it down.
You drop it in the water, did you?
Put it down gently on the boardwalk. This is not a moment where I should have anything in my hands, I feel. So then slowly I turn around and I'm like, oh no, fluttering, hands flushing my face. Oh no.
Oh no, in a good way.
Oh no, in a great way.
Yeah.
It's glad that I picked up on those signs, but yes.
Yeah, exactly. Literally, no does mean yes, but only this time.
That's it. And then they pop the question, Katie, will you marry me? And question...
Oh, yes, of course, yes.
So even though we had a few no's in there was a definite yes there, which was great. And we had that whole moment to ourselves, which was very nice in our Giants gear, but no rain, still water. It was just a perfect spot. We had a little bit of time, maybe 10 minutes to ourselves?
5 or 10 minutes just to enjoy the moment and go, oh my...
Think about the implications.
Oh my God, what just happened? And then some people came along and we just thought, we can't not ask them to take some pictures of this moment. So they were kind enough to take quite a number of photos and really just help us remember that moment.
Yeah, and look, I don't want to make this about me, but you mentioned getting down on your knees. I just need to check. Growler, did you get on your knee?
Yes, I did.
Man?
No.
Okay. But Growler did. Okay.
I was on my way down. I think I touched the ground.
I've got bad knees.
Very quick down and
that
up.
old hip injury.
Yeah.
But just the photo that you put up on Facebook, looking at each other, pissing yourselves, wearing the fleece with the ring, it was like that's a golden moment.
Yeah, it did very, very well.
Yeah.
Was that day always going to be the day, Murray? You thought, right,
Yeah, this
Here
is
we
what
go.
I want to know.
Well,
Like, this is a week-long trip, right? How long are you holding
you
this
sitting
ring
on the
for?
ring?
Well, to be honest, guys, I didn't buy the ring until we got to Adelaide, but I've been thinking about it. But because I knew a jeweler in Adelaide, which I liked.
Good deal.
But I
well played.
knew it was going to be Tassie. Now, I don't know, weeks or months. I'm not quite sure now how long I've been planning this, but I actually had 3 locations lined up in case of weather problems.
God almighty.
So
I'm just looking at this, Muzz. I just Googled lakes in Tasmania. There's about 60 of them. I'm trying to work out how you settled on Dove Lake. It's probably 10 in the list that's on my screen right now.
Well, to be honest, guys, I've lived in Tassie before for near on 9 months, so I knew a few
Inside information.
locations, but I knew that the boat shed at Dove Lake there in Cradle Mountain is an absolutely wonderful spot. And when we got there and the rain stopped and everything looked perfect, I was like, yeah, this is the spot. I don't need to worry about the other 2. I did have 2 others lined up, which I did end up taking Katie to on the trip, which was out at Frassinay and also down in Hobart.
Yeah,
so
right.
It's kind of like, do I do it now or do I wait? I thought, nah, everything's lined up perfect. It's time to get down on the knee.
Yeah.
What's 2 days in a lifetime?
Exactly.
Everyone does Frassinay anyway. It's something unique.
Yeah, it is. And from that day, I mean, we got down to Frassinay and we did a scenic flight there, but the sun had come out. It's basically been raining, torrential rain for the last week, and we get down there and I'm like, I could have done it here, but I say choosing Dove Lake, it couldn't get better location for it.
And then thanks very much. A couple of days later, the G-Boys go and do the business against North Melbourne. The only victory they've had since we started the podcast.
Which we're not talking about.
Which is fine. No. We're talking about victories and engagements and all that sort of stuff. So, probably for Growler and Bartman's benefit, I've already got the invite and know what I'm wearing. But when are you getting married?
Well, we haven't actually chosen the date yet. We're kind of, just taking it all in.
Yeah, it must have been the other invite to the engagement party.
Yeah.
The
totally.
grand final day, is that the day?
Squinters will be there.
Oh, there's a lot to plan and there's a lot to do before that time, and it's only been a very short time. So at the moment, no, we haven't chosen a date, but it's definitely not too far in the future.
Still basking in that bubble of joy.
Of course, yeah. Before it all gets stressful and annoying and flowers and etc. And dresses, apparently that's a thing.
Yeah, who knew?
I don't know what I'm going to wear.
I know what you're going to wear, Murray.
An orange, those orange flowers. A little bit further back into your Giants origin stories. I'll just quickly throw to my colleagues. Growler, Bartman, did you have any follow-ups for this amazing story of love, romance, and Giants?
Growler?
I just want to know if Katie was expecting this.
Yeah, no, Katie had... We'd spoken and we thought, okay.
Katie's talking about herself in the third person, which I like.
Growler likes that too.
Yeah, Squinter was pretty... Yeah.
We had spoken about that we think the relationship's heading in this direction, but so I think it was, expected in one term, but not at that point. So I had no idea it was coming. I had no idea he'd planned anything. I'm surprised that I didn't find the ring, because we often...
How did you get to do a runner to go and get a ring in Adelaide when you were apart?
The funny...
Left you at a cellar door, or...
I'm going to drop a name, but there's a little factory in Adelaide called Hague's, which is chocolates.
Oh.
Chocolates. Squinters indoors.
Yeah, we know about that place.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
You can't go past it. And we'd been there to the factory before, and Kanye wanted to pick up some more chocolates, which was just down in Rundle Mall. And I'm like,
none of the dark stuff for Mummy.
Didn't know at that time, but yeah.
Oh, of course. Yeah, right.
Note for future reference.
Yeah, exactly.
So I said, you go and do that. I want to go down the mall, and I've been looking at Ugg boots for winter because it's so cold.
All right, well, you do that. I'll stay in the chocolate shop. I'll do mine. You do yours, and we'll meet up in 5 or 10 minutes.
Perfect.
So it was good, but I didn't buy any Ugg boots either.
And then he came back and said, I didn't find any. I'm like, okay, no worries, let's move on.
Surely that raises some suspicions. Ugg boots are the same everywhere.
Yeah, but the problem...
No, they're not.
I'm going to have to pick you out. I got some ones that look like work boots, so when I go to the farm, I really blend in.
Yeah, true. The only advantage I've got, I'm 6'2", and I've got size 14 feet. It's hard to find
Right. Actually,
Good excuse.
I walked all around Hobart last year looking for a pair of Ugg boots, and none of them went beyond size 10. So, yeah, fair enough.
You hear my pain.
The story squares away. Well,
Sorry.
did any of the Giants give you a pat on the back?
We actually kept it to ourselves, so we thought, would it be right if the Giants family finds out before our actual family? So we thought, let's keep it to ourselves. Broke it to the family on the Monday night after we got home, and then I think it was the next day that we shared it with the Giants family. But a couple of them have reached out and sent us private messages, so that's been really nice.
Oh, well played.
Yeah.
Right. And those fleeces will never get thrown out.
Never framed.
Maybe we could raffle them at the end of next year or something.
I don't know that I don't want to get rid of it. We'll raffle something else.
Well, the good thing about it too, I mean, one thing that really was really great about it, apart from the engagement, was each of the games we ended up actually doing the banner for both of the Adelaide and Hobart games. So we're out there holding up the banner for the guys as they run through.
Wow.
Bravo.
It was just, we've done it a few times, even in Sydney and Canberra. It's just been, it's one of those things, if anyone gets a chance to volunteer, go and do it. It's fun.
How do you get on the volunteer board? I have never done that. I think it would be outstanding.
I want a
go to
live
join.
podcast from the side of the banner.
Oh, I wonder how that can be arranged. We
Yeah.
surely can do like sneaky earphones or something like that.
Yeah, instead of my incessant pen clicking, you just hear the tearing of a banner in the background.
So keep an eye out on the Giants Fan Chat Facebook group, and I think the guy is Mark
Costello.
Mark Costello that pops the posts up generally a couple of days before game day and calls out for volunteers to help raise the banner if they don't have enough already. So it's good
Awesome.
that lots of people get a chance to be
Outstanding.
able to help out. And yeah, like Muzz said, I highly recommend it's a great bunch of people. It's always a bit of fun. You get players from a different view, and yeah, good times.
Okay. Well, look, let's just take it back a little bit now, because now you're sort of talking about being friends with the important people in the fan club.
Yeah.
What are your Squinters origin stories? And if it has anything to do with your relationship, that would be brilliant, but it doesn't have
There
to.
is definitely a link for Muzz's origins with the team, so I might pop that one on hold and just do my story that's really quick. So prior to the Giants, I was not an AFL fan or supporter. So I am a very clear example of the AFL achieving what it needs to by attracting new fans and new members to the code by introducing new teams. So
There you are, Giants people, who you listen to this.
yeah, absolutely. So
This is
well
going
done,
worldwide,
AFL.
by the way.
We've got downloaders from China. 4. So.
Shout out to the 4 people in China.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so, was your head was turned one day? You were walking past the sign, or
So my family are typically fans and supporters of the other Sydney team, but it had never been an interest to me. So I probably went to maybe one game every 3 years, something like that. But I knew enough about the sport. So when the Giants came out, and I was living in Northmead in northwestern Sydney, and I thought, local team, know a bit about the code, go along to a couple of matches. And I think my first match was I think it might have been the second derby, the home derby at Spotless in their inaugural year. And from then I was like, this is a team that I'm happy to support. So introduced back into the code. Went along to a couple of matches over the next couple of years, and I think in their third year, was it the third year that I joined as a member? So I'm a 5-year member now. So thank you, AFL, for introducing the Giants. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to get back into the sport and to support the code, and we'll never...
surrender?
Surrender. We'll never support any other team. Absolute Giant for life.
Testify.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an outstanding
well
story.
done.
I mean, you say it was really quick. Yeah.
So with that in mind, Muzz does have quite an interesting story that actually is also to do with our relationship of why he is following the Giants.
Hot gossip.
Okay.
She's talked it up, Muzz.
So originally, I'm from Western Australia, so it's nothing bad there. But I loosely followed the West Coast Eagles, so born and bred over there. And in 2014, I ended up being moved to Sydney for work. So that was a really
Well, you're welcome.
Oh, thank you. So that was an opportunity to kind of come over here, and the downside of that is, so being a loose West Coast supporter, it was like trying to follow a team and get together with close people, and it's hard to find that in Sydney.
I consider myself a tethered Fremantle supporter for some time from Canberra, and that was difficult. I understand.
It is hard, and it's just getting that community and the feel and so forth. But one thing that over time, Katie and I, we actually met online, and our second date was actually to the West Coast GWS match in 2016.
Wow.
So I don't know if you guys remember that match, but West Coast won by 1 point.
Actually, no, I don't.
Is that
Was
that
must
the
have been-
Nick Nat
yeah?
game?
Nick Nat did his knee.
No, didn't he kick the final goal or something?
It's I think
Yeah.
it was
Oh, yeah.
2016. So this would
just before the Giants went on that tear.
yeah.
Yep. So, and I think the West Coast gave one of the Giants member a concussion and all the other things that
Yeah,
went along with that. But it was a little game, and we so that was our second date. As, we both were supporting AFL, but we did put a little bit of a wager on that game where the loser buys dinner, and
Strong.
exactly, it was just enough to make it interesting. But
Yeah.
ended up getting dinner bought for me, which was really awesome.
What was the dinner?
I think we went out for Lebanese or something
Yeah.
that night.
Yep.
But
That's pretty Greater Western Sydney, so that's good as well.
A
Couple of HSPs.
Yeah. It's a good ploy to extend the date, Muzz, as well.
That sounds like a bit of the old heads you win, tails I lose kind of scenario, where everyone's
Not far
a winner.
off.
Yeah.
It wasn't far off, but as I say, over time, I don't think it was very long. I think
let's put it this way: there's only one match that he has worn the West Coast gear to, and that was that match. It's never come out again since.
Oh.
So Katie, you drank the Kool-Aid, the orange Kool-Aid before Muzz.
Yes, definitely.
And Muzz...
So I became a member in 2017. So I've only been a member for a few years, but at the same time, I won't go back. The support, the family environment in the Giants is just great. I can't
It really is. And there was an article talking about it. The Giants don't have many fans early this week, but they appear to have a really good club culture. And that's apparent. I think that's really apparent. They have a really good inner club culture that seeps out to their fan base.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And I think you see the club culture through online events, through fan days, through after-match events, through the online groups and the online environments that the fans have created themselves.
Yeah. People were putting selfies up on themselves, getting engaged in fleeces, for instance.
Yeah, celebrate with our Giants family, and
You did get a lot of likes. I mean, if you need that sort of self-affirmation, people were on board.
Yeah, we were stoked how many people were interested in the story or just responded or reacted to the post, and we were like, it's nice that some news like that can bring people together and go, you know what, everyone has a smile about football, and here's some good news on the side that that we can share with the fans. So yeah, it's really like warm fuzzies.
Yeah, wonderful. Bartman, were you going to say
I was
something?
just wondering which Western Sydney tattoo shop Muzz is going to have to go to get his Such Is Life tattoo turned into a Never Surrender tattoo.
Lucky enough, I don't have one.
Oh, okay. Woo! I was going to say, you're in a bit of a mecca for body art out of there. So I think maybe, as a couple, you should take advantage of that and maybe get, some sort of
2 for 1.
Some charcoal and orange ink to commemorate this on a more permanent basis, but I'll leave that up to you guys.
Well, I've definitely
Personal decision.
I've got the orange plates on the black card, plates with white writing.
Really?
So yep, it's plastered. It follows us around.
Do you have some of those mental Giants writing on black shoes that have been turning up on my Facebook
Don't
feed?
have some of those, but do need to look into that because I was quite interested.
Likewise. I reckon they'll last at least until the end of the season if you were to buy some.
I think so. You just need them to go for at least the 8 Sydney games that we go to as members. That's what we need them to last for. So
Yeah, and the finals.
Exactly.
And here, just like that, the internet ate the rest of Katie and Murray's recording. Still, we're going to carry on, because nobody does disembodied podcast conversation like the Squinters do disembodied podcast conversation.
Well, if and when we get a home final. Favourite Giants players? Nice. Katie, did you want me to delete you mentioning the Swans, by the way, or you're happy? Because last time you called them the other Sydney team. I'm just not sure whether or not that's a sensitive. Right, okay. I'll bleep it out.
I noticed it and liked it.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't this what the New South Wales Rugby League team did in the lead up to Origin 1? They weren't Queensland, they weren't allowed to call the other team by their name. They just kept referring to them as the opposition. Didn't really
Didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Voldemort of AFL. Muzz? Oh, yeah, right. Very strong. No puns allowed.
No. Really?
Is that right?
That's gold.
Getting razzed.
Oh, okay. Take it back. That's a second Squinters Scoop for the pod.
And
Bravo.
another tattoo idea. Good. If it's coming down from the top, it'll stick.
Locked in.
Yeah, it's locked in.
Yeah, Cheese was calling him Chris Hemsworth last week, but I don't necessarily know if.
Or just Thor.
Yeah.
Just go with Thor.
team.
Thor's much easier to yell out at the football when you've had a few beers.
I reckon Harry would be pushing that one pretty strongly.
For sure, absolutely. He's put a piece of tape over his locker that does say wizard, and he's just put Thor. Yeah, just white out.
Really? That's so good from the kids. Yes. Oh,
And he's hating it.
No, well, he's not hating it. He's just wishing they were saying Thor, probably.
Thor. Yeah.
I guess he's getting a shout out in
Mate,
any
it could be
case.
much worse, really. In the
That's true.
pantheon of nicknames football associated, you're a wizard, Harry, is far from the worst thing I've heard.
That's true.
Or said on a football field.
But you would be surprised how quickly this time has passed. But I just wanted to get a quick comparison from the Tasmanian Riviera, which you guys have just returned to. And Bartman, you're in France at the moment, in Marseille, the French Riviera. Yeah, Bon. Can we just get a little bit of a? I mean, I'm sure they're fairly similar kind of regions. That's pretty much right, Muzz, Katie, Bartman? That's.
Yeah, look, I think there's probably a bit of a temperature differential at the moment. I'm currently sweltering semi-nude in a small apartment in Marseille, and it's been about 36 degrees every day I've been here.
Good
But
visual.
It's beautiful otherwise, yeah. And probably more warm weather. I've been drinking a lot of rosé, as we were saying before, more so than the cold climates.
Great plug.
Oh, yeah, they are. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a wine buff
Speechless.
myself, but we've been getting into it. Just put it that way.
building up an idea.
Well, they do this great thing where they have a slightly smaller bottle, which is kind of perfect for two people at dinner. It's called a demi. I think it's like 500 mils rather than 750, and so it's just. You're confident you can push through one of those, and then it's quite easy then to push on to the second one, when really you should have just got one bottle at the beginning and then... Well, I understand it, but as a non-wine drinker, see, it's a bit intimidating for my wife to just order herself a bottle of rosé. I'm totally for it, because I'm usually having a beer at that point, but... I'm just making the point that the demi sort of is useful for us, and now I'm becoming a wine drinker. Maybe we will start pushing on to the full size bottles.
Katie, you mentioned that you had one or two other great stories that you were going to bring up. We've given, I think, your origin stories and the hows and whys of the wonderful engagement story, a little bit of a kicking. But you said you had something else that you were going to bring up. Or was I wrong? You don't have to. You were there. One of the 17 Giant supporters. Yeah, I was gonna. Apparently, and I think it was my brother. He was there. His mate was there, and the invectives and sort of the anger against the Giants from 95,000 Richmond supporters. He thought was pretty mental. Yeah, fuck you, Richmond. Yep. Yeah, but beautiful.
And packed too. That they get such a good reception there, so it's always a great atmosphere. Yeah.
You guys are all welcome.
Hey, Needles, I'm feeling inspired. Are we going to do an away game podcast one time?
Yes. Yeah. No, that's a great idea. That's a great call. We just need someone to get us tickets so we can get into. Yeah.
We have like a mini footy strip, and we all come down and podcast from your house or something. Is that what you're talking
I don't live in Melbourne, and I mean
Canberra.
Atmospheric.
It's away for us.
Yeah, true. Yeah, okay. We'll get Katie Murray down as well. Make the most. Well, there's a game in August. Hawthorn. Yeah.
That sounds really good. I think we should look into this.
Well, I was thinking I was going to try and get someone just to sit next to me, and we would do a podcast during the game. But if we actually had an away game at the game, sorry, Katie Murray, we're talking about work now. But
talking shop.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm inspired as well. Right. We'll just put that on the ideas table.
Perfect.
And we can wrap that up. I guess that's been a fabulous first episode of the Squinters Chat Up. Katie and Murray, thank you so much for joining us. If you have anything that you want to leave our almost 500,000 listeners with, now's the time.
Yes. What? Yes.
You beauty. Watch us in 10 years.
Next.
And have a lovely wedding. I have looked at some orange suits, and they are both tasteful and well made, as far as I can tell. For $100, you really get your money's worth.
And flattering.
And flattering. Yeah. The velour. Thanks, guys. You've been amazing. We might, if you want, if we get a chance, we might talk to you later on down the track.
Yeah, keep us posted, please.
Oh, we can do a pre-wedding podcast.
Yeah.
Oh,
at the wedding.
Post-wedding podcast. Oh
Reception
my God,
podcast.
at the wedding. Yeah, just one table of squinters just talking about Katie and Murray's. You guys are amazing. You look after yourselves, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thanks, guys. Nice to
Thank
meet
you.
Bye.